Hello, today we're going to work on your right hand thumb technique. We're going to play a tune out of this book and it's on page 12 called In the Deep. Let's just remind you about how you play with your right hand thumb. Your three fingers will rest on string 1, your thumb plays the bass notes. And in this case, G is also played with your thumb, even though it's string 3 and it's one of the plastic strings. Practice playing those bass strings with your thumb. You can see the notes get lower and lower and lower like that. When you play them, they also get lower. E, string 1, B, string 2, G, string 3, D, string 4, A, string 5, and E, string 6. When you're playing the notes, they eventually get so low that they come off the ordinary lines and they have little extra lines to themselves. They're called ledger lines, these extra lines. And when you're looking at In the Deep, you can count the ledger lines, compare it to this, so that you know which note you're playing. You'll notice that I've divided it into 4 sections, 4 phrases they are, and it's easiest to play it in those 4 phrases. Here's phrase 1. Remember, that last note is a longer one. It's a 4-beat note, where the other ones are 2-beat notes. Here's phrase 2. Again with a longer note on the end. Beginning the second line, here's the third phrase. Watch out, the pattern here is different. And yes, you do play string 3 with your thumb for this bit. And here's the fourth phrase. It may look like the first phrase, uses the same notes, but it's actually using the pattern from the third phrase. And here's the whole of In the Deep with an accompaniment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go on to another piece in this book. It's on page 13 called Song of the Mountains. And in this piece you're going to start mixing up notes that are high with the bass notes that you've been playing with your thumb. Have a read of what it says there. When music has 2 voices, that means there are high notes and there are low notes. Stems up, use fingers, stems down, use thumb. This is something that only really happens in guitar music. If the notes are pointing upwards, then you play those notes with your fingers. If the notes are pointing downwards, then you play those notes with your thumb. It only applies when there are high notes and low notes. If there are only high notes or only low notes, it doesn't matter which way the sticks point. Now we're going to start off with the first half up to fine and look at the first 2 bars to start with. Your top notes go like this. The second note is a high G, just in case you've got mixed up with that one. And then on the end of that, you get a string 6 note, and you play that with your thumb, like that. So if you put that together, it goes like that. You may notice that there are some little rests underneath the notes that you're playing. That just means that the bass notes are having a rest while you play the top notes. The next 2 bars are based on the same tune. Using the same pattern with the high G. At the end of that though, you've got 2 BTs, no bass note. Going on to the next set of 2 bars, it's exactly the same as the beginning. So we can play the whole first line like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might notice that I didn't put my thumb back on string 6 after I played it. That's to do with the little curved line that hangs off that note. Let it ring on. If you put your thumb back on the string, it stops it straight away. You might be able to let your thumb hang in midair. You might want to put your thumb on the front of your guitar, but try not to put it back on string 6 because that will stop the note from sounding. The 4th phrase at the beginning of line 2 is completely different. That goes like this. The same bass note at the end. And then we can go all the way through that first half. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a look at the second half. Work out those first 2 bars. I will tell you that it's a low G this time and not a high G. First 2 bars go like this. The next 2 bars, similar, but this time you've got the 2 beat notes instead of the rhythm that you get the first time round. Beginning of line 3, it's the same as it was at the beginning of the second half. And then at the end of line 3, your only bass note happens for the second half, and it's the same as the ending of part 1. So we can play the whole of the second half. Off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we play it all the way through, we do the first half and then the second half and then the first half again. That's because at the end it says DC al fine which you have come across before. It means go back to the beginning and play until it says finish in Italian. And that is at the end of the first half. So it's first half, second half, first half again. I'm going to play an accompaniment this time. Off we go. 1, 2, 3,